everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my November wrap-up. I read 5 books in November. I had mentioned that I already read Rise of Fire and A Conjuring of Light. So this is a sequel to Reign of Shadows, and it pretty much follows, oh shoot, I don't even remember, Luna and Fowler. It continues to follow them on their journey with the dwellers, and you know, there's some political intrigue and some new enemies come and all that. So they show up and all that. So it was a good book. I liked it. A lot of getting caught then escaping, felt a little repetitive, but it's still a good book. Both books are good, and my heart was pounding in several places. So it was a good book. And then I read A Conjuring of Light. This is the 3rd book in the A Darker Shade of Magic series by B. Schwab. I wrote Amazing, What Else Could It Be? Heart-pounding, non-stop action, sadness, grief, laughter, hope, love. So many emotions were in this book. I think what I had actually meant to put was that I had so many emotions going through me because this book was so good. And then I read The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. In this book I wrote, good story, but it took me a little longer than normal to get into it. I'm excited to read the next story, but it might be on my TBR for a while. There were parts where I wanted to shake some of the characters and just yell. Specifically the stepmother. I hated that character. I hated that character so much. I just did not like her, and just some of the parts. I just, yeah. But I mean, it was still a good book. I really like to read The Girl in the Tower. I just don't know when. And then I read Not a Drop to Drink by Mindy McGinnis. I wrote, really good story. I like the way it's been written. At least 2 plot twists that I so did not see happening. Love seeing Lynn grow, and I am excited to see what happens in the next book. And it makes you think. Like I mentioned before, and if you don't know what this book is about, it's pretty much what would happen if the majority of the freshwater, at least in the United States, I don't know, it doesn't mention anything about the rest of the world, was to just be almost non-existent. There's very little. It's very protected. It's fought over. It makes you think about like what lengths you would go to protect your family or your friends, you know, people you care about. So it's a really good book. I have In a Handful of Dust, which is the sequel to this. It was on my TBR for November, but I just didn't get around to it. So I will be continuing with the series in December. And then finally, I read Becoming Jen by Lori Goldstein. I did not particularly like this book, and it only took me like 8 hours or so to get through it, which is, I don't know, it's pretty good. So maybe I'm kind of coming out of my reading slump. I wrote, Are You Kidding Me? Perfect, beautiful girls and women. Azra was such a whiny bitch. She was. Cardboard cutout characters. It just, might not read the next book, but will at least look into others' reviews before I decide. Had so much potential. I'm going to be posting a separate review because there's a lot more I would like to say about this book. So those are all the books that I read in the month of November. I did not get around to 6 of Crows, Crooked Kingdom, and In a Handful of Dust, but I will be continuing. I'll carry those on into December. Alright, so if you have read any of these books, and if you, like, I don't know, maybe feel the same way I do, or even differently, I'd love to hear about it. Like, that's why I started this channel, is to have conversations with people about books and stuff. So if you want to drop a comment, feel free to do so. Alright, so that is it, and I will see you later.